right? So if you want to see this, you're manually doing the operations, right? But when it comes to application, so think about a use case. For example, let's say, so when it comes to a profile management system, or it can be any use case. So, or think about so there is use case. So think about use case. Like I can give you a generic use case where you have to create a you have to create a, let's say, service request, or for example, let's say you're running a company. Let's say otherwise the use case is as a two-wheeler, as a company two-wheeler manufacturing company. Imagine you are having a two-wheeler manufacturing company, okay? And what is the purpose actually? So the purpose of this company is you have to sell the product to the customers, right? So you have to sell sell the products. When I say products, vehicles to the customers, correct? Yeah. So look at this way, because as a two-wheeler manufacturing company, you have to sell vehicles to the customers. Okay. In order to do this, see, you can manage with Excel sheet. In Excel sheet where you can have the let's say in the Excel sheet previously, right, before applications, so how they operate, right? Most likely the operation happens through the Excel sheet. There is Excel sheet where they have a employee information, or again there is a one more sheet where they have a customer information, right? But when it comes to these days, like why it is not why it is not preferable. For example, um, old days, right? So data is managed mostly in Excel sheets, right? So imagine for a company, see company what they have. For example, one Excel for attendance of an employee, right? And one Excel, another Excel for one Excel for customer data, for data management. Okay, come on. So when it comes to this, for example, how it looks when it comes to like employee sheet. So we really need to understand how it should be, correct. So when it comes to employee, so what kind of information they have? Like for example, if you're working for a company, like what kind of information they have? Let's say employee ID. That's a mind. That's must, right? Employee ID must. And what information you have? Once again, employee ID, employee name, employee salary, employee DOB, date of birth, right? And number of days worked, number of days leave, right? So, for example, this is a very basic, basic Excel sheet where this information is pretty much enough for me to take some decision on creating a salary, right? For example, if it is employee number one, let's say his name is John, right? Let's say salary is, for example, 10 lakhs, city is 10 lakhs, and date of birth is, for example, 24, 8, and let's say second, number of days worked, for example, 20 days or 15 days, for example, and let's say he is on leave for 15 days, for example. Okay, so this is the old style. Like this is where this is a very old style. And in order to, for example, for a company, in order to make payments, right, it become very horrible because I have to open this employee sheet and look for how many days I have worked, and based on the days count, I have to do a calculation. Let's say per day, for example, he has paid 1,000 rupees, for example, right? So then his salary will be 15,000. Okay, so to avoid this kind of calculations and all this, right? This happen in the Excel sheet. Let's say this sheet name is employee sheet. And similarly, when it comes to customer, right? So customers, they may have information like a customer name, what product they are interested. Like in customers also, we can maintain two sheets. One is like existing customers and new customers. Or in one sheet itself, we can have a categorization saying that one particular column states about like whether it's existing customer or new customer, or old customer or new customer. Got it? So basically, think about this use case, right? This is completely time delayed process. The reason is very simple. See, everybody, let's say today you are working on this Excel sheet, and this Excel sheet is, you have to keep it in a shareable position where they have to enter the information. So think about this, right? Like in a company, they used to create one Excel sheet where you have to update the details, or your manager has to update the details, right? So that's completely manual process. Okay, and there are a lot of a lot of issues with this kind of Excel sheet. The reason is very simple. There might be a lot of human errors, right? So for example, when you're entering this employee ID name. So employee ID is fine. There should be a numeric number, like integer number. And when it comes to employee name, there should be string. But these errors can happen. Let's say if I have other information where instead of one, this is fine. And here, when it comes to employee name, they had some number, for example, and instead of salary, they put some word, something like this. So when if you look at this, right, this mainly focused on mainly focused on just employee information. But if you look at here, the second row is having errors, right? So this is error column. But still, if you look at other columns, right, let's say employee information entered by him. So let's say 5 days, for example, but it is not matching. Did you see it? When I look at this, number of days worked is 15, sorry 5, and number of leave days is it's showing 15. So which is not matchable. So to avoid this kind of information, right? To avoid this kind of human errors, right? When he is doing manually updating the information. So this is critical for any kind of company. So to avoid such kind of issues for manual intervention involved, which would lead to errors, yeah, human made errors, right? So for this kind of scenario, what we can do is instead of making this, we can create a application where it will strictly restricted that employee ID must be integer number, like the employee name must be string. Like that, we have to put a strict check that a, so this data type should be string, let's say string, and string data type and integer, let's say when a number of days worked. So this is like a, so when it comes to the real world scenario, there should be a float, because some people may work for half day also, right? For example, 15.5, right? So this is a float type. So like this, we have to create a, we have to create an application which would help us to minimize all the human corrections, human errors. Okay. So to work on such kind of applications, what basically you have to do is you have to create a application like with any of the framework available in the market, right? So when it comes to this kind of example, see, to accommodate this for our use case. So when it comes to the tech stack, so we are using Python as a technology, and Flask as a framework. Okay. And since you are interacting with this database, right? So we are using one database. You can use any database, but for this example, we will be using Postgres. Okay. And these three are pretty much enough. Python, Flask framework for application development, and a Postgres database for our database connectivity or database operations. Also, we should use tools like Postman for API testing. I would say API testing. This for DB operations. All right, cool. So instead of Excel sheets, now what we do is we will create an application. We will create a full stack application where front end and back end involved. But as I mentioned, so primarily we will focus on the back end application implementation using these three tech stack: Python, Flask, and Postgres. And to test our APIs, we will use Postman. So I think most of us already installed Postgres database. Also, we have installed the Postman for our API testing, right? We can mimic UI with Postman tool. And Flask, it is to create a application, and technologies like a language, programming language, we have used this for Python. Understand? But when you look at the actual actual data, see, this is like you have inserted data in this PostgreSQL, right? Here. So when it comes to this kind of operations, right? So when it comes to Pythonic way, so this is just like a SQL queries. If you look at this, whatever the CRUD operations we have performed, so whatever the queries that we have written, create table information. These are the table columns, right? And by using this query, we can create a table information, right? Table, we have to create a we can create a table in the Postgres database. But when it comes to the as it is clear that previous session itself I have talked about everything, right? But when it comes to the application development, so most likely we will be using ORM as a SQLAlchemy. So what is the purpose of ORM, right? So ORM stands for Object Relational Mapper. Okay. So what is meant by that? Like, you have a question that, hey, Kumar, you're saying that ORM is Object Relational Mapper, right? So what this do is it would create a it would create a object associated to the respective database table. For example, so we have created, when I scroll to the top, so we had a user information. Let's say um, we have created a table called user information, right? So this is like SQL query, but I cannot write this query in Python. Okay, but when it comes to my application development, what I will do is I'll create this particular model. Okay, so let me quickly show you one example here. Yeah, so here these three are like this information until line number 22 to 23, right? 22. So this is the way. These are the tables. Sorry, these are the statements which will be used across any application. So first 22 lines are common to any application. So what we do in this, what is the purpose of this, right? So let me quickly take it down. So when it comes to this kind of application development, we need to understand what is OS, what is why OS, why is Sacrifice 2, why Flask RESTful, SQLAlchemy. Okay, but if you are seeing this, most likely we have used OS is like inbuilt library for Python. Like when you install Python itself, it will come. So it's a built-in library and import psychopage 2, right? So when it comes to import psychopage 2, what is the purpose of this is it would help us to interact with the database. Okay, to make a database connectivity, we will use this. Even when you just scroll to the particular package, right? See a Python driver for PostgreSQL. Psychopage is a PostgreSQL database adapter for Python programming language. This is a version 2, a complete rewrite of original code to provide new style classes for connections and no problem. Like say in one word, it is used to connect with the database. Without this, you cannot connect your application to the database. Okay, this is the database connectivity application. Okay, package. And when it comes to Flask, so what did you notice here? So basically, Flask is a framework which is used to create a application instance. Okay, so in Python, to like most likely now when it comes to application development, so for API for lightweight APIs, right? We will use Flask for our development purpose. Okay, so here Flask, if you look at this, it here it is inheriting like it is importing two classes. So one is Flask has a class. If you just scroll to the see, this is the Flask object implements WSC application. But in short, if you want to understand, Flask class used to create the application instance. Okay, or I will type down. So here OS is built-in built-in package. OS is a built-in package to perform OS related activities. Okay, so actually, what does really mean is, for example, you want to create a file, or you want to check whether, see, by using this OS model, if you want to check, whether particular file exists in this machine or not, on the particular location, I want to check whether file is available or not, or I want to load some data from the, I want to, for example, all OS related operations. And let me quickly show you, like if I, right, did you see it? So OS written for NT or POSIX depending on what. This is not we don't care about that, but most likely see OS dot path is the either a POSIX path or an, like what it does is generally it would check whether whether the path like particular file is exist or not, or particular path is exist or not. Okay, and here OS dot current right, it is like current directory. Like this we have many information, but most likely what we do is we used to check whether file exists or not, particular file name, right? File name exists or not, or check to or used to check whether particular directory like current directory, if you want to jump to current directory to other directory, like jumping here and there with the file paths, we can use this. Okay, but when it comes to Postgres, when it comes to this Psychopage 2, so this is like Postgres like a adapter, most mainly used to interact with the database to establish the database connection. Okay, as your this is to create application instance, and this is to use this will be used to get the information from the respective calls. Let's say for example, if you want to read the if you want to make a request, when you want to check the parameter, what kind of parameter request has, right? Let's say you must have already aware that request dot get dot args, which is used to read the query parameters, right? Like the way request dot get underscore JSON, which is used to read the body of it. Right? This we already have seen, like how this can be implemented, right? We have already had experience of using this request library. And here, when it comes to Flask RESTful, it is used to create a RESTful API service, but basically, which would help us to, help us for application routing when there is a request coming in, for example, right? Let's say if there is a application routing, when it comes to, let's say you have a endpoint that, let's say, get data, for example. So based on since it's a RESTful API, it will provide the application routing, which would help us for application routing. Okay, but no problem. I can tell you all the information. A- So these are the primary things we have to understand. So Flask underscore Flask RESTful helps for application routing. Okay, here also I'll provide information. Flask to create application instance. Okay, and request used to um, used to get the query parameters or make API calls. You can also use request dot post. You can also uh, make API calls, right? And read the request info like query parameter, payload, and headers. Got it? Next, if you look at here, so create engine, create engine. It is like a uh, use creates an engine object, creates an engine object for database. You'll come to know like what it could be. All right. Next one is column. Column which would so when it comes to column, like column is a type for specifying. Column is a type for specifying the column of a database. Okay, but SQLAlchemy, right? Like here, SQLAlchemy mainly we see remaining things. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand OS, Psychopage2, Flask, Flask RESTful, SQLAlchemy. If you understood everything in one go, right? So in one shot, right? It's a built-in OS library for OS operations, Psychopage for database connectivity, Flask for application instance creation, Flask RESTful for application routing, SQLAlchemy for ORM. Okay, so mainly SQLAlchemy ORM tool for Postgres. Okay. See, we need to understand what is ORM application. See, what is it? ORM object relational mapper, right? Like ORM tool for Postgres. So, what is really mean by this, right? I think it's one as yeah. So when I say ORM, right? Why ORM, right? So ORM is very helpful when you want to interact with the database in Python. See, currently as I shown you here, so this is like SQLAlchemy. Sorry, not it is SQL, right? SQL query. So, but when you want to make this same query, similar queries in Pythonic way, we need to map. See, Python does not understand SQL. Instead, it understands with objects. So, as you already aware, so when I write, uh, when I write anything, right? For example, if I write a equal 10 in Python, if I write a equal 10 here, let's say a equal 10. So here, what is a here? A is a integer object. You got it? But when it comes to 10, 10, right? 10 is the integer value, but Python does not know, like without specifying the value, directly it will directly map to the respective class. So here it's an integer. When I write b equal to 10.5, for example, right? So this is a floating value, right? And here a is integer object, b is float object, but never mind. So uh, when it comes to this SQLAlchemy, right? SQLAlchemy is very important. It maps Python objects to database tables or database objects. Okay, simply you can understand maps Python data to uh, or you can say like Postgres table contents, table objects. You can say. You got it? So meaning in Python way, the way we used to write Python programs, right? By using SQLAlchemy, we can write in Pythonic style. So as you created here, so for example, if I want to create this model, right? So this is in SQL, okay. But if I want to create the same thing, what I can do is see this Python don't understand. Instead, if I create a class, right? For example, say class. Understand? And what is my table name? So table name is user info. But as you clear, so the first variable is upper, something like this. So class name is class user information. And here, so let me create a simple one. Okay, so this is a class information. Also, I have to provide a table information. Okay, so when it comes to table, see, this is clear that you have to create a class. And when I want to create a table information, so what we do is we have to mention what table it is, right? So underscore table underscore equal to. So when it comes to table name, right? So you can say table name or table equal to say what table it will be user information, right? User info, user underscore info. So this is a table that we have created. See, I'm creating equivalent model for this table. Okay, and mapper. See, my class name is my class name is user info. User info is the actual object I created for this specific table. Okay, and now let's say employee ID. So how I can create here employee ID, for example, equal to, as I mentioned, column. So it's a column. I would mention here. So what is my column name? So here, this is employee ID, EMP ID. Okay. So what is the type? This type is integer. So I would specify comma integer. the data type name is integer. You got it? Like this. And when it comes to age, right? Age is integer again. So age equal to age. Like if you look at this specific information, right? Once again, let me tell you this. Integer. You got it? So like you need to understand this clearly. See, first of all, to support this kind of to work with this table. Anyway, I have created this table, and imagine table has information. Table name is user information, and these are the columns of it. In order to work with this table, if I want to create table, like create create this information, like creating this table, you can do it with this model. You are clearly telling, hey, what is the table information, and how it looks, right? For example, so let me quickly like fill out other information so that I can quickly run and show it to you. Name equal to, and you may have a question that, hey Kumar, you are using column name. This is fine, I understand. Like it is like database column, but the column name you specified, which is employee ID, and whose type is integer. Okay, but what is mean by this? I don't understand. Like why don't you use directly, employee ID, right? You have question, but when it comes to us, right? See, database is very critical or very sensitive information. So when you are working on this kind of when you are working on the application, right? Application development. So when you are giving information to the front end, for example, which means database information is being shared, right, with the column information. So if they come to know like your server information, they can easily identify the columns. Let's say there is some sensitive columns where username and credit passwords are also present in the table, for example. So that information will be shared with the hacker. Okay. So to limit that, what we do is we will mask this name. Instead of sending this employee ID, we will send some different name, employee ID. Like this is completely different of this, correct? And when it comes to age, you will send this way. This is no more matching. So this name and this name is not matching. Got it? That's why to like in a single word, what we can say is, instead of using original name, we will keep some dummy name, so that like we will inform to UI user, saying that, hey, UI developer, hey, this is the information. When you are making API call, you will get the employee information like this. Okay. Anyway, I'll share you some sample. Uh, and when it comes to name name is string. Experience, experience. So here it should be capital X. Come on, float. You got it? So if you want to check it quickly, right? So what you can do is just take it out. I want to create a fresh project of this. Let's say, or Flask app, for example. Create a fresh one. Now what I'll do is I'll just because I was busy with creating this virtual environment. Yeah, almost there. Cool. So I just created one fresh project for this particular application, right? If I go back here, so until this and until session, yeah, as mentioned, these are important. Now what I'm going to do is, if application is running, I'll have to stop it here. Otherwise, request, request don't know where it should go, right? So here, let's say app file, cool. And if you see, there are a lot of issues with this, there are a lot of errors in this particular file where it is not happy with this. Say, as I mentioned, voice is a built-in library. So that's where there is no error on this. But when it comes to others, it has errors, right? So better, what you can do is create a requirement.txt file. So file, say requirements.txt file. Okay. So what is the purpose of this file? This file holds all the libraries required for this application. So if you look at this, OS is not required because it's inbuilt, but Psychopacity it is required. So I'll say specify here, and Flask is required. I'll specify here. Next, SQL Flask-RESTful is required. Specify, and SQLAlchemy required. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to install all these libraries first, correct? So do you know, I think you already aware how to install libraries using request module, right? So how to do it? Simply open the terminal, right? See, it should be in the same project, right? This is the same project. And I want to install pip3 space install. And what I want to do, I want to recursively install every library, not one by one, right? So you have to put r space. What is the file name? Requirement.txt. Understood? If I enter this, so it would start installing all the libraries which is required for this project. So once it is installing collected packages, you can also see other dependency libraries, but it is taken care by automatically by pip. So pip is a Python package manager. All right, cool. Now if we go back here, now this all the red underline, right? It should go off now. So after indexing, like if you look at here, so it is doing indexing. Once it is updating the indexes, right? So it would say, hey, so previously it is no, you are not available now. See, the all red underline will gone. Okay, cool. So what did you notice here? So here nothing. I just had a basic application. But when I go ahead and run this application, how you can run? You directly go and play this, right? Since nothing was there, and it's not happy saying that moving. See, there is some exception saying that function is now available in SQLAlchemy declarative deprecated background. Okay, so I understand the problem is with this is SQL. Maybe let me, if I remove this, if I restart this application, let's see. Okay, it's not happy. It's not happy with this particular statement. Direct here SQL, and once again, if I it's like a warning, right? So it's not error, so it's a warning. So if you had an issue with this, let's say if you're finding issue with this declarative base, right? So generally it is not finding the adapter, you are seeing here, you are seeing a PostgreSQL, right? So this is the adapter which is used to connect with the database. I will just note it down here. Here, adapter for interacting with database. Okay. So after all, right? See, now that you had an understanding of, see, one by one, right? So here, SQLAlchemy, it is to interact with the SQL, database models. Okay, database tables. So in Pythonic way. object relational mapper. So I'll show you, no problem. When I go back here, right? We were anyway we are doing this, right? See, experience and gender. Also check it here once quickly, right? So since you ran, can you also check whether so these are the types. For example, let's say you want to check float also available or not. Float type, it's available. Okay, float. Got it. So we didn't install Flask RESTful. Huh? Flask RESTful. We made it, right. If not, do it manually also, that's okay. But generally manually we will not prefer. Maybe some package got broken, that's okay. Right. So creating a database injection, like a database engine, a session equal to session maker, session equal to session. So guys, when it comes to this, so basically, session is the database connectivity. Session is used to manage the database connections. Okay. So here, when you are seeing this, right, create engine. So create engine is used to let's say someone has to go and talk to the um, talk to the database, right, from Python program. So here is the engine. But in order to maintain some sessions, right? So here we had a session maker class actually. So by using this session object, we will interact with the database. Okay. So anyway, so if you want to do quickly how to interact with the database, right? Let me quickly write. So if I execute this now, like, see, currently it does not do any database operations. Okay, because if I go ahead, trigger this. So there is no interactions happen. Anyway, session happened. Session is created, but no other no other jobs. Exit code 0 means successful only. No, if it is one only, errors. Right? Go back here. So you have to create this model: experience, gender, worker, male, female, department. Okay. So whatever it is, if you since you are using, okay, anyway you are using the same thing, right? Let me do quickly. Experience and gender equal to column. What is the name? Exactly, database name, database column name. You have to keep like this, comma. Gender is like varchar. It's like string. So varchar means string. Okay, I'm creating equivalent Python object using this user info class. Next, department, column, DEPT, department, comma. So department name should be string, and country. Country equal to column of country, comma. So country should be again string. You got it. So now that what we just done, we created a model. Okay, ORM model in Pythonic way. Understand? So now what I'll do, I'll just copy this program, take it down here. Got it? So this is created. So just now what I have done is I have created a class. By using this class, now I will interact with the database using session. Okay. So table information is this, and these are the columns. Okay. And when it comes to a model, right? Generally, when it comes to the ORM model, it must have one primary key generally. So here, like I'll talk about the primary key and unique key and other stuff later. But so for now, say primary key equal to true, for example, which means that we are saying that employee ID is the like unique key, which is only like it does not have any duplicate values. Each employee is assigned to one unique employee code or employee ID, right? So we are saying that this is a primary key. So primary key means this is a unique key for this particular table. Got it? And so when you want to see, this is a basic code, right? This is a basic code. And if you want to make API calls with this, now you have to make a API call. So if I go back here again, what you are doing, you are inserting into database, right? You can do a insert operation using post call, but anyway, you can keep that post call aside because we will use existing data which is already inside the database. So meaning we can use fetch calls. For example, for fetching all the records, let's say you are making this, right, like a select start from user information. So this will be translated in Pythonic way. So when you want to make this statement in Pythonic way to interact with the database, what you can do is, okay, so let me comment this out, and let me write some equivalent of this. So when you're seeing this, when you run this select start from user information, which would load all the information of the records, right, and display to you for your visibility, correct? But when it comes to application development, so what basically we do is we will fetch all the information of this user information table, right, and return that information to the UI, right? So how this would be? So as mentioned, so session object is used to like you don't need to remember everything of this, not really, but you need to understand what is the purpose of voice, purpose of psychopage 2 library, Flask, Flask-RESTful, and SQLAlchemy. If you understand the purpose, but generally everyone else, right? They used to what we can say. So they used to copy paste all the 23 lines, until session. For any application, this is common import statements and create objects. You got it? Yeah. But like what we will focus is, so we will focus on creating the models. Okay. So when it comes to this, like equivalent of this, particular query, select start from user information table. So how this can be rewritten in Python, right? So you can say, so generally result equal to, right, result equal to session dot query. Okay, what table you want to talk to now? See, you want to query from which table? So since you want to talk to this table, right? But actually, if you want to talk to this user information table, what is the class actually? What is the class name? User info. Got it? I have to take the class name alone. So user information class. Got it? Result equal to session dot query user information dot all. So if you keep all, right, so what it will do is it fetch, it will talk to, it would make a database query. Okay, it would make a database query to this particular table, get all the information, meaning every record you will get. So how you will get the records is you will get in the form of list of dictionaries. So you will find, let me try to trigger my local DB and see whether, I don't know, my DB is like very long back I have installed and performed, but not sure whether still it is able to like work, right? So what it says SQLAlchemy execute error, argument error, column expression from class other columns got, looks like I need to understand this error thoroughly. Right? So SQLAlchemy argument error actually. So it is not happy with see, it's not happy with this query. Why? The reason is very simple. Might be my database might not have any table with this. So let me go ahead and connect to my database and see whether I can able to make a database call or with manually with this query. Okay. So what, like when it comes to the troubleshooting steps, right? First of all, we need to see whether this particular table exists in your database or not. Okay. If not, you have to create it. Got it? Hmm? Yes, yes, we have. We can say like if table is not present, we can create it. We have functionality. Yeah. But generally, we can do like this. So we can see there is something called we can create a table object, and so we can use metadata from SQLAlchemy actually. So by using that, so for example, how we can do is, so here we are from the SQLAlchemy we are importing many things, right? If you look at this, we are not importing metadata. But if you want to create tables or something, right, we have to import metadata. Let's do that. But first of all, let me check whether my Postgres is at least installed properly. Yeah, here we have 16 and I don't know which one I have installed. Let me see. Uh, there you go. I had installed one Postgres 16, right? No problem. Yeah. Now, if I go back here, let's quickly check whether databases. And by default, it is like a Postgres. It will connect to defaultly it will install Postgres database. Okay. And the schemas, if you go and check, public is the schema. Public is a default schema. You can also create your own schema. You got it? And here there are no tables exist, right? So if you want to do such kind of what we can say, if you want to create a tables, right? Mm, you can define and then yeah, I'll show you quickly. But generally, create table we will not perform through the application. Okay, because this table is created based on the based on the project need, right? So for application related thing, we will not recommend. But if you want to do it from SQLAlchemy, you can import metadata. So there is something called metadata. You are seeing this, right? So metadata is the schema. So metadata, you can import this. Okay. And if you have this by using this metadata, so here, right now I had created a metadata class, imported metadata class. Now create a metadata object here, the way we are doing now, right? So say metadata, so with lower, we have to create object of metadata class. Got it? Metadata. My hands are shivering actually because uh, metadata. Okay, metadata equal to what is the one which we imported? So metadata. We have to create an object of this. You got it? And once you create it, so what you have to do is when you are doing this, when you are defining table, right? Here also we can say uh, so here in the user information, we can create the model and we can pass somehow we will pass it here where inside this table. I think yes. Mm, no, this is not really. Yeah, it is not required generally, but in case if you want to have it, yeah, mm, simple. See, you have to import like this. and somewhere you have to pass, you have to pass it to, for example, you would say metadata, for example, like this. Okay, and once we pass this, right? Once you pass this, and if you want to create this table, if not exist, for example, right? So just say here metadata dot, you had something called create all, right? So create all, what it does is, if you pass the engine object, so create all, and if you pass this engine object, right, it creates now this creates the table if not exist, creates the table if does not exist. Even if you look at here, uh, wipe out this, and say create job, stringify dialect, there are a number of options it provides, but create all is the option which would help us to create the table if does not exist. You got it what I mean? So let's quickly run this out and see whether, but I literally forget that format, but yeah, metadata is the one which would take care of it. Let's quickly run through it. Okay, now running it. It's not happy with this. Once again, it says that, guys, getting errors absolutely fine, you will learn many things. Okay, so it says that session.query, again it's not happy with it. See, it's happy, it's happy with other stuff, but when you're looking at this, it is not happy with this particular statement, let me check what's, let me go back, and here at least there's no way of created a metadata something, right? So, oh, it doesn't help. All right. One second. So we have a good documentation for SQLAlchemy. If you want to quickly fetch something, you want, right? So metadata create table SQLAlchemy. So that's a good documentation provided actually. But generally we will not do through the application. Okay. So here same from SQLAlchemy import metadata, and they created a metadata object, and then how they're doing. So they're in like the way which we have done, same thing only, and user table equal to table, and they provided the table information, correct? So table name, and they provide the table name and meta object, the same way which we have done. Okay, I think they have done here. So yeah, so incorrectly the syntax incorrect, so instead of this, right, instead of here, we have to pass it here. They're doing like this, metadata. You got it? um, I don't know, like what is text. One second, if I go back here, right? So creating table. Oh, okay. So they're not doing this way, right? So we are creating table object. But anyways, I'll just come, like, this is exactly same. Somewhere we were missing the syntactical stuff actually, right? Yeah, I'll come to that point later. Got it? Yeah. Um, Got it. So, and here one thing also we have missed. So we are creating. See, this is the database model that we have created for interacting the database, right? But this is not exactly what we like. This is okay, like for our interaction purpose with the Postgres database, we have created. But if you want to use, like, if you want to use the database related operations, right? We need to use the base actually, declarative base we are mentioning, right? So base is the one which has all the table related base class information, okay, which is required for this project. Okay, you have to import base. Understood? Most likely it is not happy with this statement. That's why it is crashing. Let's rerun it. Hmm. Rerun it. What is saying? Oh, okay. Now at least fine, right? Now we at least we are good. Now it came again. Previously it's error is different. Now error is different, right? So this is fine. And what is the error actually? Error location. String object has no attribute C. So where we are doing? On which stage? Declarative base equal to base. Let's try to understand this error. Okay, guys, as many errors you get right, that's kind of information you will understand easily. You can next time, right, when you're getting this error, see, same error you're seeing on the Stack Overflow. So how to fix it? Go back here. It is, oh, okay. So I have the same error, same issue even with me. See, currently what I'm doing, hey, can you please use, like I have written table name is this underscore underscore table, but originally that should be table and table name. Okay, this is the issue. So if I go back here, uh, here, did you see it? This is error actually. Okay, so if I change it to table name, now this should be okay. If I start running it this time, yeah, there you go. The error is different now. It says, see, programming error. Now if you look at this, undefined table. Cool. So like we almost there to fix the issue. Okay, what is the issue here, guys? When you're learning something, right, learn with fixing up the things. That is very very important. Now we understood table name, right? Cool. So if I go back here in the Postgres database, why it got stuck? Because my system is almost out of memory. That's why it might be crashing. Okay, all right. You got it. So the error seemed to be I mistakenly used this. Okay, wrong and dunder attribute. That's okay. And even for uh, okay, this is for only defining table, but we might have different schemas, right? For schemas, we have table underscore underscore table underscore args. So that is the schema. Anyway, I'll just check that quickly. Yeah, Postgres loading. Okay, so here, got it. And here I don't have any table. So let me create one table quickly with this instructions which I had, right? User information table. I go back here. So like you can click anywhere, but right click, query tool. You should click on query tool. Since no table present, that's why it is not happy. So now what I'm doing, I'm just creating the table. Table is created. Okay, if I just go and refresh and check, yes, it is available now. Now what I have to do is, since previously application got crashed, right? Because the error is very simple, very straightforward, saying that hey, undefined table. Okay. Now if I go ahead and run the application one more time, did you see it? Now it's okay, completely okay. You got it? What did you notice here? You're not this time. You're not seeing any error, and you're not seeing any message either, right? Because see, the table is just created, and when it comes to when it comes to this particular issue, right, like we are not printing anything. Let me print something that say result is. So this is like table, like rows from the table result. Got it? If I go ahead and execute this now one more time, now if you see, it must give you an empty list. Why? Because we don't have any any records inserted into the table. Okay, so how you can do that? You can, since you can directly use a post call. Actually, post, you can implement a post method. But for our understanding purpose, what we do is we will insert some data into it. Okay, go back here. What is the insert query? So this is the one. Got it? Copy. The previous session that we discussed, the same thing I am just doing it, guys, nothing else. And And when you're working on this, SQL like Postgres table, right? It's important to, one second. What is your signed out of the? That's okay. Insert. See, we have inserted. So if you want to check, go and query to view data. It would tell me how many records are there. You got it? Now we had a records. We had records inserted. Now, if you want to implement this call now, see, it's very easy. So this is the this is the data that I inserted just now. And if I run this query same time, one more time, this time I should see these records because now it is interacting with the database. And if you look at this, right, now this time you got the object. Okay. But if you look at this, so this is what we can say. This is like a database model, ORM model, SQLAlchemy model. But in order to understand, like we're able to see the table information, no, right? But actually, this is the table object information. You got it? But if you want to see this information in Pythonic way with readable way, right? What you can do is, like, do you know, right, how to convert to anything to dictionary? You can like you can use a dictionary. What you can do is you can do a dictionary conversion like this type conversion, right? So if you do this, what will happen? It says cannot convert to a object sequence. I think not this way. To dixt once again. So instead of this, result dot. Oh, okay, it is coming as list. Oh, got it. So this is completely coming as list of info. Okay, it is coming as data because list of records, right? Each record is, one second. Since it is only one record, I'll show you like how it will convert. Because see, in the output screen, you are seeing this information where you are seeing only error information, right? Okay, so but it is clear that if I just print a list, right? Once again, so if I print this list, you would see list of only one item is available, but that is like object information, like user info, like this is a specific type, right? ORM information. But if you want to convert this to like this object, so list having only one item, right? Which means, let's say, uh, result of 0. If you print result of 0, so meaning you are printing this. Okay. And if you want to convert this to, if you put dot, right, you can see so many information. But what I want to do is I want to do a type conversion, like dict, convert this SQLAlchemy object to Python way, Python understandable way. For example, let's see, object is not iterable. So how we can convert? We had a result, JSONify. If you do a JSONify, one second. It's been a quite some time. I'm using, Flask. I'm using Fast API and other stuff. JSONify, SQLAlchemy query information to dict. One second. So we can also quickly check that out. Hey, anyone have any idea on this? Hey, Mahesh, do you have any idea on this? SQLAlchemy result to dict. How to convert? How to convert? This is the same thing. I'm just doing. Okay. So if you go back here, so this is SQLAlchemy model actually. So whenever we are seeing this information, right? Type user information is this result is SQLAlchemy result actually. Okay. Now I want to convert this to Pythonic way. Python. What are the Python data types are available? We have list, tuple, dictionary, right? So I want to convert them into a like a Python understandable style. Okay. Quickly go back here. It's taking long time actually. So when I do this, so I can use this as dict actually. Okay. Um, Here if I go back here from data classes, it's a built-in Python library. Import as dict. Yes, this is the one. If you want to perform, yeah. But don't worry, if you don't remember, also not required. We can Google and get it done. No, right? So here, what you can do is here the result, whatever result you have, right? You can say as dict dict of no. This is only one-time learning, guys. So that once you are implemented, right? Once you implement the application, most likely we do a copy paste only, right? Yeah. Quickly, let me rerun it. Should be happy if okay, as dict should be callable on data class instance. It's not happy with this too still. Hmm. There is other way around, but I don't like the way which is given. So how I can do is I can traverse through it, convert. Let's say for example, I don't know how this should be working. Yeah. So let me do other way. So for example, response equal to empty list. Okay. What I will do is for item, I'll do one thing. I'll loop through the results for item n a result. Okay. Each time, what I'll do is item dot uh, item dot dict. Okay. I'll do this and I'll store it to some variable. Um, Response. This should work because I'm manually doing it. Response dot append of this one. Got it? Yeah. And finally, if you just print the response, right? So you would see the response, right? Yeah. No, this should work, but I'm against to this because I don't want to loop through it. Yeah. So if I execute this now, yeah, again, dict object is not callable. Oh, item to dict, right? I'm doing it. Mm, so this should be workable solution. Not so. Maybe see these days, right? Things has changed. When it comes to the like day-to-day Python implementation, right? They have changed it. They have renamed it. It become horrible for us to understand now. It's not horrible. Like we have to. Uh-huh. Uh, or we can find one second. Even I had my own stuff, right? So let me quickly find my previous examples. So there is a project called NextGen. Oh, exception unknown, software exception, RER. What is that? Office has crashed. Good. Yeah, Sainath, I think you must have my application code, right? Can you quickly refer it if you have? But this should be workable solution. Let me. You can search with the NextGen leader, Sainath. Guys, when you are getting errors, you should be very proud. Seriously, I'm telling you, because you learn many things, no? Agree or no? How many will agree or how many will not? One second, let me quickly check something. Yeah, it's this is perfect. And oh, I think we should not use, we should not call actually. See the, okay, I got it, Sinath. See, the problem is we're calling the thing, right? Dictionary is not iterable, but this, okay. So when we are doing this, so we should not do, we should not do like this, but the way which we have done earlier, now I remember. Item underscore underscore dict, this is not a, it's not a function, you should do like this. You got it? Yeah, now it should work. There you go. Now we have the data, right? Come on. Guys, did you see it? Yeah, cool. See, this is just the basic, as I mentioned. Now, this is a core logic, okay? This is a core logic to make a API call. Now, what I'll do is I'll quickly implement the API for this, okay? How to implement a quick API here for this? See, it's very simple that, if you want to get all the information, let me quickly, for this query, select query, right? @ app dot root, correct? So, for example, the API name is get records. Okay, the API name is get records, and if you specify method, it will take. Otherwise, it will take defaultly method is get method. Okay, method equal to, I am specifying this particular API method is get method, for example. Got it? And we have to create a function for this view function. Okay, so say this name can be anything. Fetch records, for example. Okay, colon, and this should be here. Got it? And now, so as soon as you're done with the things, right? Let's say currently only one record, that's fine. As soon as you're done, you should return, say, response. You got it? And one more thing we need to understand here, right? When you're doing this kind of operations, so here, whatever the information you are seeing, right? SC underscore state. If you see, this is not it is not understandable by Python. See, these are other information, fine. But you can see some extra column, say that, SC instance state is this. Like this is a alchemy state. So this we should not send as part of the data. Okay. So what basically we have to do is we have to remove it. We have to pop this data. So when you're doing this, when you're converting this to a dictionary, so from that, what you have to do is you have to remove it. You got it? So what I mean? So say we are storing into results in the response we are storing. Also, when you're doing this such kind of operation, what is the name? One second here. Um, you have to no. Let me show you the error first. Okay, then we will think about how to fix it. Okay, so when I do this, when I run this application, it is simply running. But when it comes to application, right? Like, see, this is what we have created a API route now. But if you want to run the application, say app.run, right? We have done this already with some sample API, and say debug equal to true. So why this is required? If you want to run the application the debug mode, which means that whatever happening with the application, which would echo all the data. Understood? So if you execute this now, this program, and go and hit it. But what is the API name now? Get records. Okay, if you want to see the get records, there's a postman. Here you should keep. So two forwards. Sometimes mistakenly we do this, but remove it and execute. Still, if you see, it is like a 500 internal server error, right? But if you look at this, the object of type instance is not JSON serializable. Okay. So if you don't understand, like when you go back and print it, see, since we are already printing it, so this is the information where, oh, okay. So this time we are not printing it. So we had a previously here we are printing the response. Now we are not, right? I'll show you. That's getting errors absolutely fine. Okay. So here say response. Response is colon and say response. Got it? Now rerun the application. Got it? So now application is running. And if you go back here and execute now, you're seeing again for 500 internal server, but this time I'm printing that error information also. Sorry, the information of the dictionary. So here, so it is okay, but when it comes to this, it is not converting to this value is not translating back to Python data type. That's where it is saying error. See, if you look at this, object of type instance state is not JSON serializable. Okay, so if you want to understand better, just copy it and understand. Like go to uh, the object of instance state is not JSON serializable, which means that we have a function, right, like JSON type, like converting to a JSON type. So this is not JSON serializable. That's where the issue is come. Okay, to fix it, what we have to do is we have to remove this. We have to remove this key from the dictionary. You got it? Yeah. But when it comes to sending the response to the UI, right, it's not happy. The reason is it is having some special key and value pair. If you look at this SCA underscore instance state, so it's not happy. Like it is unable to convert this to a JSON object. Okay, that's where it's not happy. So what we do is we have to remove this particular one. We have to remove this particular object actually. You got it? If you remove this key from this dictionary, then everything will be smooth. So if I make a call, it's clearly saying type error, object of type instance state is not JSON serializable. So in order to make it, so you can see one thing is you can convert that to a string, but not required. So since that is nowhere required for our application. Okay, in order to do it, since you are doing append, right, what you can do is you can in this particular statement say, for example, uh, mydict equal to convert and store into a mydict first. Okay, you got it? And instead of doing this, since you are converting this object into a dictionary. Okay, so in dictionary, how you can pop item? You can use pop of key. You can directly use it. You can directly do a pop of key. So how we can do it? Mydict dot. So that's a dictionary, right? If you see, there is a something called pop. If you do pop, so what you want to pop? So you don't like this key, right? So this key is currently creating issue. Do one thing, copy this key and pop it from the dictionary. Got it? And once it is pop it, you just append that my dictalon. This would, yeah, if you rerun application, let's see how it works, right? Did you see it? See, we need to understand what error it is. See, you can directly have a smooth running code, but with smooth running code, you will not understand what is the issue, how to fix them up, correct? But this way, you got it right. So you got it how to take the data from the DB, right? So any questions in this? Like anyone actually out here? See, the core logic for this is simple. The core logic of this to fetch the data. Where is it? I have written. I've written where session dot query. Um, oh, I haven't written here. Oh, okay, okay. I think in the application itself I have written the same thing, right? This one. So this is a core logic for getting all the records. Session dot query table information dot all. That's it. It would give you all information of the records. So all means getting all the information. Okay. So I come back here. Yeah. So this is equivalent to this. All columns. See, if you look at this, it will what it will do is it will look all the information. All columns. Star means what? All columns, right? So here, if you don't specify any column name, it also pick up all the columns. If you look at this output of this particular call, right, you're seeing all the database information. And if you look at this now, the age, country code, it is not matching with the database column names, right? Because we were masking that column names. So we should not use direct column names. Let's say age, country. Otherwise, these are the sensitive information which is comes out of the application. So if someone comes to know that, let's say if we server information on the DB information, right, for example. But anyway, if they come to know the DB information, we have of no choice. But when we are sending out the data, at least we have to mask our information and send some dummy information, not the original information. You got it? What I mean? Any questions on this, Ainath? You're good, right? So the simple, the same query anyway. Since we don't have many count, right? We can also have one more, recapture of this session tomorrow. But this is to see when you're learning, you have to learn in a hard way. Fix the issues, raise the issues, grab the issues, crash the program. But like after all, what you have to do is you have to fix them up, understanding one by one. Got it? So even if you take that, after this item is dictionary now after conversion, right? You can pass item as well. That's also still be okay. And if you guys are still, since you are practicing it, right? So what you do is you can have a reference. I think I'll take a separate session because since you're already aware how to get every information, simple. If you want to get some specific columns, let's say session that only, for example, person name, right? Here in this, you have person, employee ID, name. If you want to get only two columns, right? Employee ID and name. So this is also very easy. So here dot. If you put dot, it will tell you. So employee ID, comma. What is the other one? Name, for example. User information dot name. You got it? So what is the name? So what is the name written here in the model? Capital N. Okay. So here. So this time I'm getting all the table information, but I'm only fetching employee ID and name. You should in the query you should put like this, which is equivalent to. Let me go back and here. Uh, we have fetched this one. So here example 4. So session information, employee ID, comma name. Did you see it? If you want to run this kind of query in Pythonic way, so you should do this. You got it? And everything else. See, once you fix this issue, right? Once you fix this issue, now everything else is same. Let's say get records. Let's say instead of now rename this API. Get get uh, Q info, for example, or get custom columns. So this time the API name is get custom columns. For example, let's say we had a employee ID and name. I want to get only those column information, and this name also should change. Custom column. Got it? And this time if we use this API now, but as soon as you make changes, right? So if you change this automatically, uh, when you do this here, debug equal to true, it will always detect it. What happened? Oh, somehow it got stopped, but it has to be detected. Yeah. Now if I go back here, what is the API name for custom getting columns? I want to get only employee ID and the name. You can use this. Go back here. Did you see it? Oh, come on, crap. You got an issue here. So what is the issue? Did you mean, see, it's not happy, attribute dict. Do you mean something else, right? Try to understand. See, if you are getting error, need to understand what is the, why it is getting error. So it's saying the attribute error. Did you mean dict? Oh, okay, mistakenly I have passed something else, I guess. Uh, which line it is not happy? If you go back here in the application, so you should check here. It's not happy. This time, because oh, okay, when you are doing this once again, so let's when you're doing this kind of information, also print the result actually, so that we will understand why it is crashing, because without this information, you can't figure, you can't troubleshoot. You see, by looking at the error, you may have written this. You got the query information, and you are converting that information to a dictionary, right? And then you are popping out one key. But since it is crying, right? It's crying that, hey, I'm not happy with this code which we have written, for example. But when you look at this error, see, it is not happy with this particular statement. Item dot underscore dict, right? So what you have to do is, before this, you're doing this fine. Pop is fine, cool, and try to print the result value. Okay, so that we understand what kind of data it has and why it is getting crashed. Result. Okay. If we go back and rerun the application is getting running. Okay, and go back here. Okay, it will crash because we didn't had any fix on this, but we need to understand what is the response text it has. Okay, we are printing it. Debugger is active. What is the error name? Attribute error. Uh, any such information we have missed here? This looks good to me. I don't see any issue with this. And we are printing that information. Sounds good. And at this stage, it's not happy. Why? And here, before it, after, okay, session.query dot. Mhm. I don't see any issue with this query. Sounds good to me. And what is the result? Result it is not printing anywhere, right? Oh, okay. Result is there. There you go. So this time, if you look at this data, the result is what? Result is list of tuple, no? You got it? The result is list of tuples. Sai, did you get it, Sai? So previously we got dictionary itself in the when you are making a query, you are getting only okay. Let me add one more. Let me add one more column to it, right? So comma user info dot. Let's say get some age also, for example. If I trigger this, okay, and if I go back here, make a call, and oh, Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is the result? Happier. Oh, okay. Hmm. Guys, did you understand why the error? The error is very simple. Now it is not. It is not fetching in the form of key and value pair, right? It is fetching only the values actually. See, previously we had name and like we had a key called name. When you're looking at the output screen, you are seeing name colon person name, employee ID, and the other information, right? But when you're specifically fetching out the information, right? When you're specifically fetching out information, the conversion is not required because the result itself, it is having you know it's like a list of tuples, right? So nothing is required. For example, if I uh, let me quickly share you like what I mean. So here, until this not required. Let me make it commented, right? So I would say like comment this out. These all are no more required in this particular case scenario. The reason is the result itself, it is in the form of list of tuples. Okay, instead of this, let me do this, right? And if I trigger this one more time, execute this out, but still we got 500. But when you go back here, what it says, it is not a JSON serial level, it says. Why? Because if you go and check the value, so what is the type of this? List of tuples. So when you're working on this, API related informations, right? So the information you should send as a JSON data, right? So this is not JSON compatible. Okay, but still, if you want to do any such kind of operation, so what we can do is we have a JSONify also, right? Like from Flask, comma JSONify. Hey, Saina, are we connected still? No, we are connected, right? No, we are connected, right? Yeah, got it. This should convert. Mm-hmm. What error? Okay, it says that type of object row is not JSON serializable. See, when it comes to this kind of information, generally we will not do this way. Generally, we will see when it comes to custom selections, right? Generally, we will not take like this. But when you want to send some only the when you want to send the specific column information, right? We will fetch in the real time use case. We will fetch every information and we will put exclude columns actually. So how it is let me show you. Df exclude columns. Okay, in the exclude column function, right? What it does is it takes the dictionary, or it takes the list of dictionary. For example, let's say my dictionary, my underscore dict. Okay, and what it does is it excludes, it fetches everything instead of user information, other stuff, right? It fetches everything. Let's say it does this operation, but here we will send these results to the exclude dictionary. But how? For example, here we had a list of dictionary. Actually, this one result equal to list of dictionary, right? Yeah. It will come like this. Here, I think until this point we should be fine. One second, comment it back, uncomment it, and here after response. So here each time. Mm, quickly, let me think of it. So after popping out, that's fine. So here we would say mm, excluded equal to, I would I would write some custom function. But anyway, guys, see, this is not that much difficult. I'm just trying out something new actually to make uh yeah. So here I'll be passing the my dict, okay, and when I send this my dict to this, right? Yeah. So when I say my dict here, I would put some excluded columns. Excluded equal to list of the keys. Let's say, uh, since we already had one issue with this, now I'm creating some implementing some custom functionality, guys. Okay, and it is clear that okay, one second. Let me print this. If I like, I'll show you. Mm, like this is actual implementation, guys. Okay, see, this is not something we can directly, take some direct example and work it out. Okay, but if you see, we got this issue. The view function for, okay, it's not happy with the view function. Okay, one second. Custom columns, that's fine. And what is the output of this? Yeah, result is this. And one second. So if I go back here, uh, mm, here after this, let me also print my dict. Print my dict is my dict. Okay, guys, this is actual implementation. Okay, see, we are not directly doing something which is existing in the market. Okay, we are trying something new. Understood. So I'm executing this application. Application is running. Go back here. But for you to understand, I'll give you the sample references actually. Okay. Yeah, here. So my data is this. You got it? So now we have to fix it. So we have to say based on our excluded list, right? Whatever. See, this is the list. This is the dictionary information. Now we need to exclude it from this. Okay. I'll show you like how the implementation also happens, right? So for example, this, right? Yeah, like my details comes with this information. Now I want to exclude the list. Let's say how we can do it. Let's say, for example, I want to remove department, the department, comma. You want to remove gender, right? Comma. You want to remove what else? Let's say you want to remove some sensitive information, for example. Let's say country, that's fine. Uh, Imagine you want to exclude this two, which means like these two information should not go to UI. Got it? Now, so what you'll do is exclude is this. Now what you can implement a logic where, see, you can have a, let's say, um, final dict equal to, okay. So what you will be doing, I'll be creating a dictionary using dictionary comprehension. You got it? Hey, we had a concept of list comprehension, dictionary comprehension, isn't it? Advesh, we had it, right? Yes or no? Advesh, are you there? We had a list comprehension, dictionary comprehension, those concepts, right? Uh, right. So what I'll be doing is, so I'll be using a dictionary comprehension here. So let's say key and, right. By now you must have understood. So for key in my dict, okay. If So what we had to do, we had to skip the key, no? If key not in, or you should say like if key not equal to instead what you can say is if key not in, cool. See, did you understand now? So what I'm doing, I'm just preparing a final dictionary. See, I'll be getting a dictionary like this, and what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a final dictionary where I'm excluding this. See, if key not in, let's say, for example, consider this experience, right? If experience not in included list, if see, if experience not in this, which is true, right? I'm adding it. And imagine when it comes to the, for example, uh, here department, for example. So department, see, it will comes to this department not in excluded list. Since it is available, then it becomes false, right? So whatever the available things, like whatever the excluded list that you have defined here, that will be skipped off. So did you get it or no? Yeah. So then what we have to do is we have to return the final dict. So generally this excluded list, right? We will keep it in the we should keep it in the database actually. So whenever you want to include whatever you want to do, you have to keep this variable in the database. Understood? Even when you are doing such kind of this kind of operations, right? Let's say you are doing this operation. Let's say my dict of this also, if you want to exclude, like instead of making your program complex here, if you want to remove the complexity, right? So in the excluded list itself, you can create one more function like this and perform these operations there. Got it? Yeah. Mm, now if we go back and say, guys, this is implementation, okay? So we are not we are not taking something which is directly available in the market. We are doing some sort of implementations. And now if I go back and execute this out, again error. Try to understand. Type error, unusable type. So go back here. See. Oh, okay. This see the see my dict of. We have to mention key here actually, because you have to mention key and value, right? So my dict of key here. So there's a typo. Uh, guys, if you don't understand today's session, don't worry. So the implementation that we are making today from the beginning. Okay. So again, I just changed this to key back because see key and value pair. Okay. I want to make sure. And if I make it here, now did you see it? That list is the previously original list is different. It has a department and other information, right? See where whatever you are keeping here inside, department and now let's say if you exclude this, like you want to have a gender now, then what you have to do is you have to pass this exclude. You have to call whenever you want to exclude something, right? You have to update that data into the DB. Okay, but anyway, I'll tell you the use case, general use case, business use case, right? Now only department is excluded alone. Go back here, figure this out. Did you see this? Except department, every other information you got it. Yeah. So this is how the actual implementation taken place, guys, in the real world, implementations. Okay. So actually, see nowadays at least you have a chat GPT, right? But even ChatGPT sometimes it makes mistakes, and if you don't understand the concepts of how this can be implemented, right? You can't understand, like, though you have ChatGPT, but you don't know where to fix it, right? So fixing of things also very very important, guys. You got it? And if you make see, that's what actually excluded list, you should take it from the database. So in DB, you had one key value pair where the key name is exclude, and you'll in the value section you will put a list of arrays. Okay, now if you exclude department also, for example, like this is like manually I'm doing it in the program, but this can be doable through the application itself. If I just stop it and rerun the application, now I excluded, like now there is empty. Okay, so when it empty means what? It would fetch everything now. If I go and hit it, this should fetch every information. Hey, do you have any questions, Advish? Advish, do you have any questions, or anyone have any questions on this? Nothing, right? Okay. So what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing this code to you. Okay. So since this was already explained, I'll share this code. What you do is try to practice for all other get calls. Okay. So there might be business use cases where I'll be explaining you tomorrow. But if you practice this alone and get some hands at it, that would be great.